Pandita Jagadananda Prabhu Prana Rupa Loke Kyata Yenho Satya Bhamara Surupa. Anyone else like to chant? Pandita Jagadananda, of the name Pandit Jagadananda, Prabhuda, of the Lord, Prana Rupa, life and soul, Loke, in the world, Khyata, celebrated, Yenho, who, Satyabhamara, of Satyabhama, Swarupa, personification. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Pandit Jagadananda, the sixth branch of the Caitanya tree, was celebrated as the life and soul of the Lord. He is known to have been an incarnation of Satyabhama, one of the chief queens of Lord Krishna. Please repeat. Pandit Jagadananda, the sixth branch of the Caitanya tree, was celebrated as the life and soul of the Lord. He is known to have been an incarnation of Satyabhama, one of the chief queens of Lord Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are many dealings of Jagadananda Pandit with Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Most importantly, he was the Lord's constant companion and especially took part in all the pastimes of the Lord in the houses of Srivas Pandit and Chandrasekhar Acharya. So we'll read text 22 and 23 also today. Pritye karite chahe prabhora lalana palana vairagya loka bhaye prabhuna mane kakhana. Jagadananda Pandit, as an incarnation of Satyabhama, always wanted to see to the comfort of Lord Chaitanya. But since the Lord was a sannyasi, he did not accept the luxuries that Jagadananda Pandit offered. Text 23. Dui jane khatmati lagaye kondala tanra prityera katha age kohiba sakala. They sometimes appeared to fight over trifles, but these quarrels were based on their affection, of which I shall speak later. Om Agyana Timidandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. So we're reading here about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya came 500 years ago, and it's described that he had two kinds of reasons for his coming. He had his internal reason of his own, and he had his external reason of what he wanted to achieve in the world. This is very nicely surmised in a verse of Chaitanya Caritamrita. It goes like this: Shri Radhara Baba Lana Chaitanya Avatar Yuga Dhamma Nama Prema Kaila Prachar. So Lord Chaitanya came to experience the bhava, or the emotion of his greatest devotee, Srimati Radharani. And he also came to give what's called the Yuga Dharma, or the religion, or the process of connection of yoga for the age, which is Sankirtan. So we read in the Vedic literature that the previous ages were very conducive for self-realization. So there was very peaceful environment. People could go to the forest and meditate for long periods of time. They also lived for much longer. So it was very conducive for meditation. But in this age of Kali Yuga, it's described in the Vedas that people are very short-lived. They're very short lives. And practically speaking, from 0 to 20, people are, concerned with getting educated, and then from 20 to 50, they're working hard with family usually, work so much time working hard. Then at 50, 60, they might retire, and then, the mind starts to go by, 70, 80, old age hits in. So there's very, very little time in Kali Yuga to actually sit and meditate, to spend, years and years sitting in a peaceful place, thinking about the Lord in the heart. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's come to give this process of the holy names, of the speaking the mantras, speaking the spiritual sound vibration that can actually cut through Kali Yuga, can actually cut through all of these deficiencies of this age. We know this verse is described Kritaya Dhyato Vishnu Dwaparam Parichaye Tretayam Yajatomukhe, Dwaparam Parichayayam Kalo Tad Hari Kirtanat. That Kalo Tad Hari Kirtan is the process for the age of Kali. So Lord Chaitanya gave simultaneously, it's a very transcendentally incredible, amazing situation of how he's come as the Lord's greatest devotee to understand what it's like to feel separation from the Lord by crying out to the Lord, by crying out, Krishna, 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 where is Krishna, Krishna? He's in that internal mood of Radharani, crying for Krishna, and at the same time, simultaneously, that's the process of this age for everybody, to cry out the name of Krishna, by calling the name of Krishna. So these two things are going on simultaneously within his pastimes. And his associates also have this simultaneously internal and external mood. By chanting Hare Krishna ourselves very carefully and very submissively in a proper mood, we can understand really what is this internal and external mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So just like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was coming, he is coming in the mood of Radharani, in the mood of separation from Krishna, calling out to Krishna. So also his associates also had this. They also were Nityasiddha. They were also eternal associates, identities in the Lord's Lila. And it's described that devotees like Paramananda Puri were in the parental rasa. They were like the parents of the Lord. Govinda Das was in the servant relationship with the Lord. Ramananda Roy was primarily in friendship. And devotees such as Gadadhar, Swarup Damodar, and also Jagannatha Pandit were in the conjugal relationship with the Lord. And as we just read, Gadadhar Pandit is none other than Satyabhama, Queen Satyabhama Devi from the Dwarka Lila of the Lord. And Satyabhama is contrasted with Krishna's other primary queen in Dwarka, Rukmini. And Prabhupada is saying here that Satyabhama, she would often have a sort of contrary nature with Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna, he enjoyed that actually. Just like one time, Narad Muni came and he brought a parijata flower from heaven. And he brought it to Rukmini and gave it to her. And Satyabhama found out about this, and with her contrary nature in love for Krishna, she said, well, where's my flower? She's got the flower, where's my flower? Actually, don't forget the flower, I want the whole tree. So Lord Krishna enjoys this kind of contrary nature in some of his consorts, and even we know in Vrindavan the different moods of the different cowherd damsels of Vrindavan have different moods with Krishna. And Krishna is described as Rasa Raj. He's the king of all rasa. So he has all the different rasas, relationship with so many different varieties. For us, we're getting the perverted reflection of these different rasas, and it may not be super sweet at all times in this material world. But for Krishna, he's getting the pure form of these rasa, and it's only enjoyable to him. It's only pure enjoyment. So everything in this world is actually there in the spiritual world. This is the Vaishnava philosophy that the world is certainly not an accident that came about from a small, medium, or a big bang, but it's actually coming from the spiritual world. Everything is there in the relationships, Krishna with his different devotees, and that is manifested. And if we see things in that way, if we just suspend our disbelief for some time, if we just try chanting Hare Krishna, we try to understand this philosophy of relationship, which is especially described in books like Nectar Devotion, then we can see that actually everything in this world is relationship, and everything is coming from these relationships. It's also very instructive that Lord Chaitanya came and to establish the Sankirtan movement. So Kirtan, we know, means glorifying the Lord, and Sankirtan can mean a complete glorification, and it can also mean sang, as in together, like sangha, lots of people together. So Sankirtan means that all the devotees together, in association of devotees. Kirtan. So in the previous ages, people would actually go out, like Dhruva Maharaj, he went out to the forest, and just on his own he would sit and meditate without anyone else. We know the story of Bharat Maharaj. He went out to the forest. All the great sages and kings of past would go and perform silent meditation or chanting mantras even, but on their own. But in the Kali Yuga, it's described that this is an age of quarrel. There's always fighting. There's always dispute among people. Always. No matter anything we try to do, there's different fighting and different things. So this is very important, that Lord Chaitanya has given the Sankirtan movement, where you have to come with the devotees. You have to come in a group. You have to be able to cooperate with the devotees to be in the Sankirtan. There's a very nice story. Just quickly, Lord Chaitanya was chanting in the house of Srivas Thakur, and one brahmachari yogi that was meditating by himself came in, and he had a little bit of pride, and Srivas Thakur had hidden him to the side to see the Sankirtan. But Lord Chaitanya stopped it and said he doesn't have the right mood to be with the devotees. He's thinking, by my special strength of spiritual strength, I will control my mind, I will attain Brahman, I will get free. And he had all this kind of, by my effort. But Lord Chaitanya explained, no, the Sankirtan movement is where we have to work with other devotees. It's not about being on our own, separate from everyone. We have to work with the other devotees, and actually this is actually the eternal position of the soul. The actual eternal position of our soul is to be with other souls in loving service, in activities, in pastimes. And this is the Sankirtan movement is how we practice that. Sadhana Bhakti means a practice. So we're also practicing how to be with other devotees. And we can see Lord Chaitanya had so many devotees there. In his pastimes, there was all different devotees. There were so many different people happening, people, interactions and different relationships and things like that. Now, of course, within that, Prabhupada and Acharyas have stressed that, along with the Sankirtan, it's very important to do the individual meditation, to do the japa, and even at initiation, we don't promise to go to a certain amount of kirtans a week or so, but we promise this many rounds. We'll chant 16 rounds of japa, of personal meditation. So that's a very foundational thing, that within the kirtan there may be so many different there's so much activity for the senses, the eyes, there's so many things to see. But when we're just sitting down early in the morning, and there's nothing else, we're just sitting there with our beads and the holy name, then that is where we can really tap into the holy name and just take all the parties, take everything else out. There's no other thing there. There's no mode of passion. Nobody's going to glorify us if we're sitting by ourselves early in the morning. There's no one going to come and say, wow, that japa period was amazing, Prabhu. So inspiring to me. You know, you are such a great devotee. You know, so japa is very pure for that reason. It's just our personal time with Krishna. Lord Chaitanya used to chant japa. It said he used to chant on his fingers to count. Nana Shastra Vicharane Nipuno Saddharma Samsa. By regulated activities, this is very, very, very important. But the Yuga Dharma is Sankirtan. It's with the devotees. It's with the devotees. So all of these devotees came with Lord Chaitanya. And as we were reading, the Satyabhama came also as Jagannananda Pandit. Now, as we said, the mood of Satyabhama is somewhat contrary, but the Lord enjoys that. And the mood of Rukmini, to contrast the two primary queens in Dwarka, the mood of Rukmini is very submissive. And we know, in fact, one of the pastimes described by in Chaitanya Mangal is actually that Rukmini had told to Krishna, that you can't understand actually how devastated we feel when you leave our association. Krishna had come back to the palace at night and Rukmini was crying. And Krishna said, why are you crying? I'm here, it's such a joyous event, the suns have come out, there's beautiful arrangements and auspicious items, and different musicians are playing, it's such an auspicious event, we're here, we're together, why are you crying? And Rukmini Devi said, well, I'm crying because I'm thinking that one day you'll leave. That tomorrow you'll have to leave again, and that feeling of a separation is making me cry now. And Krishna said, well, I can't understand this, such a nice event, but why are you crying? And then Rukmini said to him, well, you can't understand this because you're the Lord, you're self-satisfied. But we can understand that. She said, you know who really understands this is Radharani. Radharani understands this more than anyone, because of course Krishna, in his manifest pastimes, he left Vrindavan altogether at a young age, and left the residents of Vrindavan pining for him their whole lives, for the rest of their life. In his external pastime, of course, he was always there with them as well, eternally. But she said, Radharani, she knows, she understands what it's like. And so Lord Chaitanya said, so Krishna thought at that time, well, I'll come in the mood of Radharani. I'll come in the mood of Radharani. And just at that time also, Narad Muni came and said, how are the souls of Kali Yuga going to get saved? And he said, all right, I'll come in the mood of Radharani. I'll call out for Krishna. I'll experience that thing that Rukmini is saying I can't experience, I'll experience that. And also by doing this, by calling out the holy names, by calling out in separation from Krishna, then I will attract all the fallen souls of Kali Yuga, and they'll be able to come back to the spiritual world. So I'll achieve both purposes. Shairadhara Bhavalana Chaitanya Vata Yuga Dharma Nama Prema Kaila Pracha. He decided, yes, this is how we'll do it. So Rukmini was showing her softness there. And actually in this pastime of the Parijata flower, that when the tree was brought to Satyabhama, then Krishna was talking with Rukmini, saying, oh, you just got the flower, no, she's got the whole tree. So he was trying to rile up Rukmini a little bit, trying to get some sort of slighting words from her. But she's just so submissive, she's just like, she didn't respond at all. So Krishna took it a step further. You might know this. He said, whoa, okay, well, but you know what, actually, I'm not very qualified. I mean, I was a cowherd in my young days. But the kings like Shishupal, so many they wanted to marry you, they're so qualified. They're very good looking, very rich. You know, it's not too late. I think better, maybe you should think about that. A better option than me. I'm pretty much useless guy. Like this he's saying to Rukmini. And of course, after hearing this for a few minutes, Rukmini just fainted at the thought of Krishna leaving. It was just too much for her to think about. So Krishna, even whatever he did, he couldn't get the slighting words from Rukmini. She had that mood. But from Satyabhama, he very much enjoyed her mood. So when Satyabhama Devi came as Jagannatha Pandit, then of course these kind of pastimes went on between the Lord and Jagannatha. Of course, he was there from the very beginning in the house of Srivas Thakur doing Sankirtan. And there's a very famous pastime that one time Lord Chaitanya, regularly he would ask Jagannatha to go back to Bengal from Puri. So of course we know Lord Chaitanya was based in Puri, which is about 300, 400, 500 kilometers something. It's a fair way distance from Bengal. And in those days, it was months walking, long time. So Mother Sachi was still in Mayapur, and Lord Chaitanya was there, so he would send Jagannatha Pandit to go and tell Mother Sachi about his pastimes there and console her heart. And of course, he went there and told Mother Sachi that actually Lord Chaitanya sent a message. He said to tell you that when you cook for him, he comes there and he eats that food. And he said she doesn't know. She thinks it's just a dream. She looks, the prasadam is gone, and she thinks, oh, I must have dreamed. Maybe some animal came, I'm not sure, something happened. And maybe I just had a dream that might come. But she said, tell him, tell her, I am actually coming. I'm coming from Puri, I'm coming and eating that. I'm receiving that offering. He's saying he's receiving that offering that Mother Sachi made. So like that, Lord, Jagannatha Pandit would spend many days in Bengal with all the devotees, staying at the house of Advaita Acharya and different devotees, and they were feeling so happy in his association. They felt like Lord Chaitanya himself is here when Jagannatha Pandit is here. And I was so happy to hear. And he spent some time at Shivananda Sain's house. And with Shivananda Sain, they decided, let's make some very nice oils for Lord Chaitanya. We'll take to Puri. So they got some beautiful sandalwood oil, and they put very much scented, in beautiful, in a nice pot of pure sandalwood oil with scent. And Jagannatha brought it all the way back to Puri. And he gave it to Govinda, his servant. And he said, you take this sandalwood oil, please, and rub it on the body of Lord Chaitanya. So he's in the mood of Satyabhama. He's thinking in his internal mood, this is my Lord Krishna. He's playing as a sannyasi. Okay, this is just a play. But actually he's Lord Krishna. Here's some beautiful oils to offer to him. He's thinking like that. That's his mood. It's like Murari Gupta was in the mood of Hanuman, right? And although Lord Chaitanya said, worship Krishna, and he came the next day crying and said, I can't do it, I've given my heart. I've given my heart to Lord Ram. So his devotees have a certain mood with the Lord. So he was in that mood. Even though Lord Chaitanya was a sannyasi, he wanted to give him his beautiful scented oil. But Lord Chaitanya said to Govinda, what is this? A sannyasi that takes scented oils? He said, if I pass someone on the street, they'll think I'm like a tantric, vogi sannyasi, associating with the opposite sex, even though in the dress of a sannyasi, they will think all these things. He says, it's not right for a sannyasi. You can take scented oils, decorate their body. So I can't accept this. So Jagannatha Pandit heard about this from Govinda, and he became very silent. He didn't say anything. For 10 days he didn't say anything. And then finally he came to Lord Chaitanya to try to insist. And Lord Chaitanya said, you brought this very nice oil, thank you, but you should take it to Lord Jagannath, take it to the deity, and you can offer it there. I can't accept this. And then Jagannatha Pandit manifested, very much his mood of Satyabhama and said, what are you talking about? I don't know anything about any oil. I never bought any oil. What are you talking about? I don't know anything about any oil from Bengal. And he took the pot and he walked out into the courtyard of the house and just threw the whole oil pot on the floor. Smashed. Went into his room, bolted the door. 3 days, lay there. Not talking to anybody, not eating. For 3 days. So devastated that the Lord wouldn't accept his offering in pure love. Of course, these are all pastimes of spiritual ecstasy. These are not pastimes of mundane frustration or mundane attachment. These are all spiritual pastimes the Lord is enjoying with his particular devotees, Rasaraj. He's enjoying these pastimes. So after 3 days, Lord Chaitanya came. He's on the door of Jagadananda Pandit, still bolted after 3 days. Jagadananda, Jagadananda, come, I'm hungry. Because Lord knew he's so determined, he's not going to stop fasting. He's going to keep fasting. So he said, Jagadananda, I'm hungry. I need you to cook for me, please. So Jagadananda said, all right. We are going to the temple now. Please, when I come back, you have some nice prasadam. I'm so hungry. I need you to cook for me. I really want to taste your cooking. So Jagadananda's like, all right. So he comes up and he starts cooking, and he's cooking so many beautiful things. And then you serve Lord Chaitanya so nicely. And Lord Chaitanya's about to eat, and he said, he held up his hand. He said, no, I wouldn't touch this prasadam until you sit down and eat with me. So Jagadananda said, all right, okay, I surrender. But don't worry, I'll eat later. I have some things to do. I want to give some rice and vegetables to the cook, and then I'll eat. So then, of course, Lord Chaitanya ate very nicely, and Jagadananda Pandit, and he also ate, and the pastimes went on. He gave up his fasting in that way. These are all, pastimes of love. We might think, oh, is this just not eating, giving some food, whatever. But if we can chant Hare Krishna nicely and pray to the Lord, we can actually enter into the spirit of these pastimes, enter into the spirit of the pure love that the Lord has for his associates, and then we have no more, naturally we have no more attachment to this material world. Just naturally. Krishna says in Gita that you can't just by controlling the senses, you cannot, completely renounce the world. But he says, Param Drisva Nivartate. What's the start of that verse for me? Vishaya Vinivartante, Niraharasya Deina, Rasavarjam Rasopyasya, Param Drisva Nivartate. It says, Vishaya Vinivartante. Just by trying to give up the Vishaya, by trying to give up the object of the senses, by understanding in theory, by an intellectual understanding, we are connected to our karma, we have reactions, we have to stop acting in this world, I have to stop doing sin, I have to stop doing that, and I'll attain the original nature. But just this understanding, Vishaya Vinivartante, Niraharasya Dehina. So the Dehi, the spirit soul, Niraharasya, by just rules, just by trying to, no, I won't do that, I won't do that, I won't do that. Right? Niraharasya Dehina. Rasa Varjam. By trying to give up that taste, by trying to say, no, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. Rasa vajam, raso pi asya. In Sanskrit it means the taste is still there. So even though just like somebody might, when they're trying to give up some addiction or something, they might say, no, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. I won't do it, it's wrong for me, it's bad. But they still have the taste for it. They still have the desire to do those things. But Krishna says, Param Dristva. Dristva means to see or directly experience. The superior, Param Dristva Nivartate, very, very quickly. Just like if anybody has small children, you'll know if the child is attached to some stick or something like that, or they've got something, a rock, and you don't want them to have it, you can try to pull it out of their hands. No, I'm attached to this, I want this. They've got a taste for holding that thing. Or what happens when you pull out the lollipop? Lollipop. Oh, the rock. Thrown away immediately. Paranjrisva nivartate. To attract our heart, to attract us, to make us have experience of higher relationships, of higher spiritual relationship, and then we can easily give up the material relationship. It becomes insignificant. We don't have that need, we don't have that desire anymore, in a very natural way. Maybe I'll just ask if there's any question, any discussion. There's a couple more pastimes I can tell if there isn't any, but I'll leave some time in case if any devotee would like to, or anyone would like to ask a question or comment or anything about it. I was going to tell a mattress last night, exactly. So Lord Chaitanya, again, as a sannyasi, he lived very austerely, and his devotees it would pain their heart to see him like this. He would lie on the plantain leaf, means like the banana leaf tree, right? So a banana tree, just take the big leaves off. Sometimes in India well, very often, and especially in South India, they'll eat off that. It's very beautiful. If you've ever eaten off banana leaf, such a beautiful thing to eat off. It's so pure and clean and nice. It's just very sattvic, very beautiful. So Lord Chaitanya would literally just lie some of those leaves down on the bare earth floor and sleep on that. So his devotees were, and we have to understand, as well, Lord Chaitanya was going through various, physical ecstasies. This is in Adi-lila, so this is in the later pastimes. So he was going through so many ecstasies that would affect his body physically. So he would be grinding his teeth, he would be rubbing his head on the wall in complete transcendental ecstasy of separation from Krishna. Completely unaware of the material surroundings, and that Govinda would ask different devotees to stay with him in the room because his spiritual ecstasy was so overwhelming that he didn't understand what was around, and he could potentially hurt himself. He was, so this was the state he was in, and still he was just lying on the bare leaves. So Jagannatha Pandit, in his mood of caring for his Lord, he actually made a beautiful pillow, made a nice soft pillow mattress for him to sleep on. And of course Lord Chaitanya, in his instructing role, Juga Dhamma Nama Prema Kaila Pracha, in his external form of instructing how to act in the varnashram, how to act within the pastimes of being a sannyasi, he wouldn't accept that. No, a sannyasi can't sleep on a nice bed. So Jagannatha Pandit was very disturbed. So the Lord said, I'll only sleep on a plantain leaf, that's all for me. I won't accept this mattress, just the banana leaf, that's all I'll accept. So his devotees are very intelligent, so what did they do? So Jagannatha took a banana leaf, and with his fingernails, bit by bit himself, personally, he sliced. You know how banana tree leaf has the little, divisions, right? So he went and he pulled a little thin strip. Pulled so many thin strips. So many banana trees. Then he took those pillows that he'd given mattress and he stuffed it with those banana leaf. And he said to Govinda, he wants to sleep on a banana leaf? Okay, here, he can sleep on this banana leaf. So it was some padding. It's not like a nice, bed. But at least there was something. And Lord Chaitanya surrendered. Okay, I accept that. Sleep on this type of banana leaf. Okay, and at least there was something a little bit more. But actually after that said that Jagannatha Pandit he asked the Lord to go to Vrindavan, and Lord Chaitanya said no. He said, don't go now because you're still angry with me about the mattress pastime. He said, don't go to Vrindavan now while you're angry with me like this. He said, no, I'm not angry with you. I really want to go to Vrindavan. So finally Lord Chaitanya gave his blessings. He'd asked many times. And Lord Chaitanya gave him a very instructive, talk. And he said, actually, when you're in Vrindavan, don't stay for too long. And he said, don't associate too closely with the people there, the devotees in Vrindavan, because you're actually you have a different mood, a devotional service, than those devotees in Braj. So they're on a spontaneous level. So this is, we're just struggling with our mind and senses and trying to chant, and we're on such a beginning stage of devotional service, but it's inconceivable, but even on those high levels of the Nitya Siddha associates, Lord Chaitanya's and Krishna is saying, they have a different mood. Don't associate too closely with them. They're spontaneous mood. Whereas in Dwarka, there's still that element of reverence. There's still that element of vaidhi. There's still that element of, this is the regulated activities. The Lord goes out, he sits in the assembly hall, he does this, he comes back at the end of the day. Rukmini being there in that regulated, ready to receive him, that's her service. Her devotional service is within the realm of that regulated activity. Of course, Vaikuntha even more. But we can only just, gasp in wonder at what Lord Chaitanya, Madhavendra, from Madhavendra Puri to Bhakti Vinod and Bhakti Siddhanta, Gokul Das Babaji, Sarvabhauma, Jagannath Das Babaji and Srila Prabhupada, what they're giving us is the chance to develop our love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this most highest form of a spontaneous love that the Vrajavasis have for Krishna. That's what is being presented. It's inconceivable. Even on this level, Lord Chaitanya said, and he told him to stay very closely to Sanatana Goswami, stay with him, go travel all around, but don't leave the side of Sanatana Goswami. Under his shelter, you should see Vrindavan for some time and then come back to. Okay, so thank you very much for coming. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak some nectar from Lord Chaitanya's pastime. Is there any questions from any of the young boys? You have any nice question? Or older boys? It's all relative. Comments, Prabhu Das? Some realizations? You can say.
We encourage each other. So sometimes Srila Prabhupada was appreciating painting that the devotee had done, where there was a group of devotees who were in devotee to Srimad Bhagavatam. He said this is the mood of the spiritual world, pushing others forward to Krishna. In the material world, everyone's trying to drive everyone back so they can get to the front.
Yeah.
When we're talking about Sankirtan, that mood of combining together to serve Krishna. That's the real response.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. When you said that, comes to mind one story that Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he used to say that when you're going up the stairs, with people, if you're pushing someone up the stairs, helping someone up the stairs, then what happens to you? As you push someone, as you help someone up the stairs, what happens to you?
You go faster.
Well, you end up, you go with them, yeah. You end up at the top as well, right? And what happens if someone's trying to climb the stairs, but you're trying to hold them back, trying to drag them down? What happens to you? You also get down there. So nice. Yeah. Actually, just before when I was chanting, I'll just finish on this. I was thinking how this Sankirtan movement, being in association with devotees, is also one reason that Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that actually the Grihastha ashram is a very conducive place to do devotional service in Kali Yuga. And I was thinking that also because the process is with devotees. The process is not on your own and whatever. It's with devotees, and those devotees keep you on track. They'll tell you if you develop some pride, if you develop some enjoying mentality. Those devotees will tell you. And when you're in a family situation, it's immediately obvious. But just like Bharat Maharaj, he was off on his own. He was on his own doing his own meditation, and he developed attachment to a deer. And it's described by the acharyas that if he was in the sangha of the devotees, other elevated devotees, they would have said, you're getting a bit attached to this deer. They're going to hold you back in your ultimate spiritual progress. And then eventually, he had to come back, take the body of the deer, several lives. So that to be situated in the family life is very conducive, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, to practicing Krishna consciousness in the Kali Yuga. Whether family life or even in renounced life, we see even now sannyasis, it's always in association devotees. They're always in association, they're talking to their god brothers, they're getting, feedback on what's going on. So, also obviously, renounced ashram, if that's suitable for someone, is a wonderful opportunity. It's not that's also great. But whatever it is, it's always in the association of others that are giving, feedback and help and encouragement to go forward. Yeah. All right, thank you so much, Bruce. Thank you, Jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.